Hi, everyone, and welcome for a new session with Code with Sally. The session usually run every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Today's session will be a bit different. We'll have it as open Q&A. If anyone has a question about previous topics or if they have a piece of code that they want to understand more or anything, we are open. If not, I have prepared some knowledge check questions like quizzes, small quizzes, so small pieces of code, and we'll have to think together how it will behave or what will be the output. Today's session, like if anyone is new to YouTube channel, this is our YouTube channel. Usually post our videos in the beginner or intermediate series that we are currently working on. But because today is a Q&A, an open session with knowledge check, it will be under the Q&A and how to English playlist. So you'll find it here in the Q&A playlist under the section on the page on YouTube. Again, if you have any questions and you didn't get the chance to attend today's session, feel free to message me on Slack for Code with Sally or LinkedIn. Okay, let's go with the knowledge check then. So I prepared the first question for you guys. Can someone and even I'd be happy if I get more than one answer, try to think, leave the extra at line 16, but think about what will be the output or the debug result. And if you can type it in the chat or you want to say it out loud, feel free. So what we are doing here, we have a revision kind of on how lists, sets, and maps are working. So we have list, set, and map, and we are building the map from the list. And we want to see the different size of each of them when we print it on the screen. And to make it easier for you, I have some options for you to choose from. If someone wants to think out loud, I can take the code copy and paste in developer console and we try to debug it together loudly, if you prefer.
Well, that would be nice.
Okay, let's do it. So line
So,
one.
did you want me to say or you say?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I was just gonna say. So the list names is three names, but when you do set, it eliminates duplicates, doesn't it? So then it's two.
So what the set will have then?
Well,
Adam
Adam.
and Sally.
Yeah.
Okay, that's correct. And that's a great thing to remember that list, there is an index for each item, but a major difference between list and sets, that sets doesn't allow duplicates. So correct. When we will move the list to be a set, we'll eliminate the duplicates. And
Now,
mhm.
when we talk index, though, doesn't it start at 0?
Yes, this one will be Adam is at index 0. The second Adam is 1. The third is 2. But
The map should be 3.
sorry?
The map, it should be 3. The map name size should be 3.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. We jumped so many lines. So let's do it line by line. We have here index value 0, right? And we have
Yeah.
here, we are looping through the list of names. So the first time we'll have Adam, right?
Yeah.
What we'll put in the map in that case?
We'll put Adam, comma 0.
Okay, Adam 0.
Yeah.
And we'll increase the index to be
Should be 1.
correct. Now we'll go and what will be the next value we'll have?
Adam.
Adam. Okay. What will happen for the map?
It will be Adam 1.
Okay, I have to stop you here. We mentioned before when we were doing the list and sets and maps that the map keys are sets, and the map values are lists. So it's very important to remember that, which means, can we have duplicate keys in a map?
No.
No. So what will happen is, do we have a key Adam?
Yes.
So it won't add a new one, but will the value be updated or it will be the same?
It will
Zero.
be updated.
So it will be Adam and one, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll increase the index. What will be the new index?
Um, s- 2
Two. And what item will be next here?
value.
Okay. And what will be added here?
Value assigned to 2.
Two.
Yeah.
So, and we'll exit because we finished the list of names, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the size we will get for the list of names?
3.
And the sets
This set would be 2.
and the map?
The map would be 2.
Two, not three, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we'll print the map, what we'll have?
It
It
would
will
be
show us-
3, 2, 2.
No, when we print the map, it will get
Oh,
me the key and value of the values in the map. What we'll have?
um, it would have Adam,
Yeah.
Yeah.
comma, Sally.
Adam and its value one,
Yeah.
and Sally and its value two.
Yeah.
That's very important because sometimes people think the old value will remain. So, in other words, if you have the same key and you try to put it again, we don't get an error. It allows you to put it, but if it exists, it overrides the value. So the last value the value will be the last value of any items we have. Like if we have another atom and the index will be 4, it will be atom and 4. So is that clear?
Yeah. It is now.
Okay. So let's execute it and make sure what we said is correct. Okay, let me take that copy. Okay. And let me open it again, put it and execute. So if I execute, I have 3, 2, and 2, and we got Adam 1 and Sally 2. Okay. So that takes us to answer number 2, which is B. And for anyone who is interested to refresh their memory more about list and sets and maps, we had here in the beginner series this video for the list, another one for the set, another one for the maps, and then we did a comparison about lists and sets and maps and when to use each. So those will be a good refresher if you want to refresh your memory more on their usage. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one, we want to refresh the loops. So we had couple of videos as well. One for the while and the while, one for the for each, and then one we explain the break and continue usage. So we want to think, if we take this code in developer console, what will be the output? I'll give you a minute to think about it, and we can do the same. Like someone can volunteer and I can put it in developer console and let me know how they thought about it. But again, those exercises are usually useful because it makes you understand more how the code is working. It helps you as well to be able to code review other people code because you are able to think, will an error happen? Will it work as expected? Like you can be debugging the code yourself when you are reading it, and it helps you write better code as well.
It would be D, wouldn't it?
For this, it would be, yeah, B.
Conrad, you said B or D?
D like in dog.
D as a dog, and we have
For me, I pick B as in boy.
okay. let's put it in the debug log and try it together. So let's see. Who wants to debug it out loud? Conrad, do you want to go ahead for this one?
Sure.
Okay.
So we have numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to do the for loop potentially 5 times, but we go 1, then we go through the first loop. It's not 2, and it's not 4. So then we're going to print out 1.
Correct.
And then on 2, we hit continue. So my understanding is that makes it go bypass everything else and goes through the loop for the 3rd time.
Correct. So continue when you hit it. It tells the code, any code coming after me in the loop, ignore it, and let's move to the next item in the loop. So that means it won't do this check if it's for or not, and it won't do the debug statement. So that will take us to the next element. Correct. So we'll be at 3.
Yeah. So then it'll come down and it will print 3.
Correct.
Then we hit 4, come down, then 4 does a break. So break actually takes you out of the loop.
Correct. So the 4, like the break, the difference between it and between continue, that when the break happens, it will skip the code after and also exit the for loop. Like it will skip also the items after the 4. Correct? So we won't go and check the 5. The 5 will never be reached.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
you have
why we'll have 1 and 3. Let's see it together. So we got only 1 and 3. And again, not everyone use break and continue, but there is some use cases where you want to stop. For example, if you find one item with 100, like a certain condition, I want to return this and exit everything. You may need to use it. You never know. So, and sometimes people use it as well. And if you don't know what they do, you may get confused. So any questions about continue and break?
Yeah, it's about the break. I always have issue with it. So we don't put the number 4 because it stopped before the 4. So
Because
the
it
break
matched this,
call
so
4.
the break got executed.
Because you get off of the loop at 4, so why we don't put 4?
Because this line of the bug statement, it's coming after line 5, right? So what will happen, that break, and let me put it as well for you like this, if it will make it clearer. Here, let me put the curly brackets. So what will happen, I will go to this condition. It's correct, right? You go and within the if statement, you do the logic for it, correct? So you will execute line 8. Line 8 tells me exit for loop now and ignore any lines after me in the loop. So any code within the for loop after the break will be ignored. So that means I'm saying go from number 8, line 8 to system.debug 2222. So I'm saying for the code, go directly from line 8 to 12. Ignore anything in between.
So is reading like the number 1 line that say we go at the 4, the integer, but because he said not to print it, so it's the reason we don't put the number 4.
We don't
Understood.
print it because the line that will print it is line number 10.
But he's going through the number 4.
It will to 4, say
yeah, in the back.
to the break. The break will tell the code go directly to line 12 and ignore anything in between.
Mm.
So it won't execute line 10 and it won't go and check element 5. It will exit the for loop and it will ignore any code after line 8. The continue,
But
what it does, it will ignore any code after the continue in the loop, but it will go and check the next item. That's the two difference. Make sense?
but in the back, he's reading one, he's at the number 4, but he's not printing it because the code after asks him to print, and
Because
we
if
exit
we had the print, let's say if I had the printing the number here,
before. Yeah.
it will print it. Then
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
it will exit. But because the line that we print the code in it or number
It's after.
after, it's ignored. Any code
Okay.
after, it's ignored. And because it's
Mhm.
break, any item in the loop as well is ignored.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Is that an issue when you use the break and you can know that he's going through, but because of the code tell you to print it. So is that sometimes I have issue? Where is it?
Uh,
Okay, now I have a better understanding.
it's you do it on purpose. So
Mhm.
we did the break and we know that it will ignore this line. If you want it to be used, you won't be using the break, nor the continue. Like if I wanted to print 3, if I wanted to print 2, I wouldn't be using break, continue as well, because that way the number was never printed. So use it with caution and you need to understand how they are working. You have to make sure you are using them correctly. Let's go to the next. We have this one. It's again for the break and continue. I will give you a minute. You tell me which answer you think will be printed, and we can try it as well in the debug log together.
So this is you're just gonna have B1. I mean, you're gonna have all the letters, but B's gonna be B1 and no more.
Okay, so you're saying it will be
C, Charlie.
Charlie, but Charlie has B1 and B2. You're
Oh, I can't. What? Okay. I flunked here. What's
I
going
think
on?
it would be A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. No, A1, A2, A3. Sorry, it would be A1. Oh, I'm lost. But I think it's supposed to actually be, oh, A, B, A, B,
Oh,
1, B2. So it's supposed to actually stop at B2. So I wonder why. Oh, that means this would break in here and go back to. Oh, I think
oh, it's B. It's B. I'm sorry.
it's
Yeah, I don't understand why they C1, C2, C3, because if you get off at B2, it
okay.
stop. So it
Let's
doesn't go to the C.
it's
So
C, I
me,
think.
so we
it's
It's
have
the C
C.
the issue. I don't understand why it's going to the C.
A1, A2, A3. Anyone has a concern of them that they
No, no.
okay.
Mhm.
Now after we finish the A's, we will have a B and we'll
Yeah,
start with 1, right?
yeah.
So B, it's partially correct, but it's not 1. So this line won't be executed and we'll have the debug, right? So we'll have B1, correct?
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Then we'll have number 2, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that won't print.
Yes, let's see if it will print or not, because it's B and it's 2. So
Yeah.
this condition is correct. Let me put it for you like this. So the condition is correct. So the code between the curly bracket here will be executed, which is break.
Mm,
And break, we said it will exit the loop.
Yeah, so it doesn't get print.
So B2 will not be printed. but will be exiting the two for loops or just
We'll be exiting the first one,
the
the
the inner one,
inner loop. Yeah.
the inner loop only. So
Yeah.
the inner loop only will be exiting. So that will take me to the next item C. And that's why I put this example. It's not, it will exit the current for loop. So your current for loop where the break is this one. So any code after line 7 in this for loop will be ignored. And that's why B2 won't be printed, because for B2 to be printed, we have to execute line number 9, and will not be checking number 3 because we are exiting the inner for loop. But we can continue with the outer for loop. So the next item for the outer for loop will be the C. So that means we'll have C1, C2, and C3 as well printed. So that's why B is the correct one. And that's why the C's are printing, because we exit only the inner for loop. So the outer for loop will continue as well. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now it makes sense
Okay.
because, yeah,
Another question then. If I change the break to continue, anyone can tell me what will be the difference in the output?
there
You'll
will
have
be the
B.
B2.
There will be what?
A B2 because it will say to continue, so you can print it.
Uh, when I go to B2, I will
It
say
will say to continue to
continue,
print.
continue. What it does, it will
You
ignore
go to,
the rest of the code.
yeah,
So if you have B2, it will never be printed because line number 9 will be ignored.
but it say continue, so you continue
Continue
to.
the rest of the loop. So
Oh, so you go back to the number 4,
it
not to
will
the line 9 when you
it
say
will go,
continue.
it will go and continue the list
Three.
3. So what will be different that we can print B3 as well. Make sense?
No, I'm losing. Why doesn't print the B2 in the continue?
Continue, what it does, it skip any code in the inner for loop and goes to the next iteration. So line
Oh,
9 will be ignored, but the
okay.
break excluded the rest of the iterations, which is 3. But because of continue, we go to the next iteration with this, which is 3. Makes
Okay, so you go back to the top when you continue.
it
He's
will go
keeping
back to the next iteration,
the 8. Okay.
which is line 5, and we'll go with number 3. The remaining of the iterations for the second for loop. Next, we have this question. If we have this code and you want to do code review, what would be your concerns about this code? We can take turns, like,
Yeah. For one, there is logic inside the trigger,
correct?
and we want to remove we want to separate concern.
Correct. So it's not a good practice to have your logic in the trigger. We want to do separation of concern, and we want to have a trigger handler and put the logic there. So that's correct. Any other issues you see? Conrad
Uh,
or Bio?
um, I'm not sure if this is necessary since we've identified the first concern. Instead of doing the for loop, you probably want to use switch on instead.
You want to use what? Sorry?
Switch on instead of the
Yeah,
for. You want to use switch on
correct.
so that, yeah, we'll be using the operation trigger operation type to pick the right logic.
Okay, correct. So we said like you will want to have a switch on after insert and after update, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
in general, we said the logic, we don't want it to be in the trigger. That's correct. What anyone can see any other issues?
Well, they're not bulkifying.
We are not bulkifying, correct?
So right now, for every statement, for every if condition you evaluate, you're going to do a sequel, a select, and then also you'll do an update. You want to bulkify them so that
Correct. So we don't want ever to have a SOCO or a DML in a for loop, whether it's trigger or trigger handler or any other code. We want to have this as, for example, collect the account IDs in a set and run the SOCO. And we want to have as well a list where we keep adding the opportunities we want to update and update the list together at once. Correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for. Also, instead of doing the update opportunity after we've bulkified, of course, we would also want to use database dot updates to allow for partial commits.
Correct. So when we do the DML and we create a list of opportunities, that's a decision usually that you have to stop and ask, like, if we have three opportunities, do we want to fail the three if we cannot update one of them? Or we want to use database.update with a partial saving to allow some of it to be like saved if passed and the rest that are failing fail. So that can be a good thing as well. I would add to that, I don't like the naming of C. Like usually I saw people when they use those variable names, C, D, in the for loops. Sometimes they get confused. Was it contact or case, especially if they are working with different objects that they can start with a C. So that one. Also here, when like you have after update, like that means maybe someone updated the name. Do you want to update the opportunity in that case, or it's only when we update the email? So when you create your trigger handler, it's always advisable when you do based on an update to check that the object, the fields that you're interested in got updated. Because if I update once the contact to change the name, and another time to update the address, a third time for the phone, a fourth time for the email, I don't want to be updating the opportunity 4 times with the same change. I want to do it only when the email gets updated from null to a value or from an old value to a new value. It depends on the requirement. So always keep in mind that it's good to check and compare the old value with the new value to make sure that you are running your trigger only when you need it. The other thing I want to make it like clear for you, this line is a bit risky. Why? Let me show you. So let me clear those and go there. So I will demonstrate it for you. Opportunity O equal, or even if I do it on account AC equal select ID name from account where name equal SSS. So I know we don't have this. And I will do system.debug. And I can show account found. And I can say, let's see, account object. And I can say here, account object. I want to print the account. If I will run this, it won't show me null. It will throw an exception. See here, it will tell me there is a list that has no rows of for assignment to S object. So it's giving me an exception because we couldn't find a record that matched this criteria. So usually what we do is we do this in a list, not a single object like that. And you can print your list instead, or check if the list is empty or not. And it will show like here, account found is an empty list. If you, in your logic, you can have something like this, is empty. And then you can deal with the list of accounts of 0 if it's not empty. Because, for example, if especially you have here a limit of 1. So you know that you are returning maximum 1 account. You're checking that the list is not empty. Then you can use list of accounts of 0 and start working with the account. But if you do it as we have here, that can cause an exception if you don't have a record. So be mindful with this way of writing. So no DML or so-called in a for loop. We move the trigger logic in a trigger handler so you can reuse it, or to be cleaner, it's easier to maintain. When we do that, we have the switch case for after insert and after update. So you call the right method in the trigger handler. That would be good. When you work with after update, make sure always to think like, do you want it to run every time you update the record or only when certain values change? If the answer is when certain value change, you have to compare old and new to make sure it's changed before calling your logic.
Can
This,
you,
uh-huh,
oh, sorry, can you show the developer console one more time?
sure. I can show
You're
it.
saying, oh, so it's not empty. You're checking to see that it's not empty. Okay.
Yes, and even if I printed directly, it was not throwing an exception. It was showing an empty list. But
Yeah,
if you do it that way, it will give you the exception. Like if I run it now, it will complain about line 7. Line 7, list has no rows to assign. So there is no result. So assigning it to a single S object can throw an exception. And other people sometimes like to do that and have a try and catch to catch it, which means they couldn't find it. For me, I usually do the list and check if it's not empty or not.
gotcha. Thank you.
But it's preference kind of, but I'm just telling you what I usually do. The bulkification, as Conrad said, is not good here. And the names, like it's cleaner to have contact object or contact or con at least, like, but I don't like the 1-letter names. And it's a good mention to say like, consider you want to have database.update to allow partial updates, or use the update whenever you're working with a list of records to update or to create or delete at once. Any questions?
Well, this is a question about standard. So I come from large enterprise, Fortune 500 company, and every installation I worked at, they have had naming conventions for your code to the nth degree. I mean, it's very complete. But and again, one of my challenges trying to switch into this Apex world is that it's like all the developers want to do their own thing. So are you, do you have installation? Have you worked in installations that actually have naming standards, or how does that work in your
It
experience?
depends usually on the team, like how big is your team. So the best answer is yes, you have to always have a naming convention. Like I worked in some teams where they like to name trigger contact. For me, I like the object first, then trigger. Um, Same contact trigger helper or contact trigger handler. So it's a naming convention you have to follow, and it's cleaner and better, especially in, or even if you are a single developer. Like it doesn't make sense for you to have contact trigger handler and then account trigger helper. like it's better like to agree with yourself, or if it's a new team member coming, that all the handlers for the triggers will name a contact trigger handler, for example. Same. I worked with teams, they were very strict about the naming convention of variables, and they had like the list start with LST, or set start with SET, or a string STR. So, and some teams, no. So it's better like between you yourself and like as an individual developer to be comfortable always having a certain naming convention to follow in case you are working in a very small team and you are on your own. If not, and you are working with a team or a bigger team, it's better to agree on a standard that we will all follow, because that will make it easier for you to check someone else's code, and someone else can to check your code in an easier way and find the code in a faster way as well. And sometimes it will be harder at the beginning to reach something, but once it's reached, everyone will be happy and it will be easier. And you can enforce it as well with code reviews if you see something that you don't like or it's not following the naming convention. And at the same time, I worked in teams where they didn't really like put much effort into the naming convention. And the result was, yes, we have working code, but each has his own style, and you can tell that when you go check the code. Is that a good practice? In my opinion, no. It's a good practice to have always good naming convention that everyone is following. And usually it will come from a dev leader or team lead or a senior developer, depending on the hierarchy you have. If not, it's a good idea. Like if you are in a flat company, no hierarchy, to come together and say, like, let's have some naming convention and have some documentation around it and follow it. As we know, like say Apex is not case sensitive, but again, we know now that it's a good idea to have all the classes start with capital, method small, uh, variables or objects from a class not to be starting with capital letters. So it's a good idea to follow this everywhere, even if Apex doesn't like enforce case sensitivity. But yeah, that's my experience. It depends on the team I worked with. But like in my case, even if it's a bit annoying for some developer to enforce naming convention, on the long run, it's a good thing for the whole team.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, to be honest, like some changes I came before Apex and Salesforce, I was working with C# and ASP.NET. I won't be lying. Like when I like switched between C# and ASP.NET development to Apex, and I was in a team that they were enforcing the naming convention, I was a bit annoyed at the beginning because it didn't match the naming convention I was coming from. But again, with time, I adapted and I started to implement the same naming convention without feeling like it's a heavy task for me or a time-consuming task. I was happily doing it. So it will come with time. Okay. Uh, we are at time. So I had more questions. I can leave it for you as homework. I put it in the chat and I can put it on Slack as well to think about it. This is related to unit test classes and APIs. This one, we wanted to review the default values for Booleans and how it works. Again, you can take the code and put it in the developer console, but you won't be getting the whole advantage of doing that. So try those code like to guess what will be the output before trying it in developer console. And maybe another time if we have like break between sessions or something, we can resume from question 5 and solve it together. And maybe by time as well, I will increase the bank of questions so we can have other session. It was great session. Thank you so much for all your questions and being here with me. And I will see you next Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time.